And the finish line will be off the beach at Preseli, and there will be two yellow buoys, I believe they are. Is that right, Richard?
Yeah, there'll be two large yellow race buoys.
Right, they'll be just off the beach, and that will be the finish line. At the beginning of the race, I don't want the support boats to be with the rowing boats. I want them well clear of the start, and I want the support boats to slowly pick up the rowing boats once they get into the race. So I don't want the support boats milling around because it can be dangerous. And at the end of the race, I want the support boats to leave the rowing boats as they go round, say, the safe water mark, so the rowing boats can row in on their own. Otherwise, we'll get boats, lots of boats milling around altogether. Clear?
So
okay.
Tracy's got a hand up.
Yeah, sorry, just an obvious one there, Nick, if I may. So, 2 times 9 for our first batch of 3 girls and 6 mixed. So you've got 18 boats milling around. Are they going to be to the left of us, or what? How's it all going? I'm trying to visualize it. How's that all going to pan out, just to be clear? So we know which is where we can spot our boat and all that, and they're going to spot us.
Okay. I would suggest that the safety boats, the support boats, go over to the right-hand side.
Yeah.
That opens out into the bay.
We're animated.
Sorry, did somebody say something?
No, we're off. Okay.
So support boats go over to the right-hand side. The race starts, and then I would say about half a mile, come together, find your support boat, and then row together as a team.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. It's yeah. I think we all have to work it out as crews, don't we, to make sure with our support boat we can find them and they can find us. It could be. I could have imagined a bit of chaos, but that's for us to sort out. Yeah, clear. Thank you. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, exactly. The reason we are saying that is that there was an incident in one of the Celtic Challenge when a rather energetic support boat nearly ran down one of the rowing boats. So we don't want that to happen. So tell the support boats to stay away as long as possible and pick up the rowing boats after about at least a half a mile out. Okay.
James
Nick,
got
Jane. Yeah. James got a hand up.
Yeah, sorry, I'm jumping now to the end of the race, and it's a beach landing. Can anybody tell me what to expect with the beach landing? Do rowing boats usually beach land there? Can surf get up? Is there anything we should be aware of?
I can tell you it's a very gentle beach area, and the reason we've put the finish line off the beach is so that people aren't racing for the beach. So you'll come over the finish line, you can then get your breath back and assess the situation, and we will have people waiting to catch you on the beach. So it'll be as safe as we can possibly make it.
Right, thanks.
Can I also say at this point that we intend to recover the ribs from that beach as well. So the support vessels can go into the marina, but the ribs can hang off a bit and we can recover them from the beach.
Tony's got his hand up.
Yeah, just going back on the point about the uncertain weather conditions, and we're not quite sure which day, either the Friday or Saturday, we'll have the briefing on, and consequently the actual race. What would be the latest you'd be able to decide on that? Is that because coming from the South Wales area, accommodation has to be thought about, and we're just trying to plan that.
I know it's very difficult. You can appreciate. I mean, we could say, right, everybody has to be there on the Friday, but you could be hanging around for a day. So we're trying to be as helpful as possible. We will meet every day next week to assess the weather conditions, and we will keep you informed as much as we possibly can. If there is a chance of going on the Friday, then we will go. If there is a chance of going on the Saturday, we'll put it off to the Saturday.
Oh, that's fair enough.
It's a completely fluid situation, and I don't know whether you've looked at the weather at the moment, but it's looking. If there is going to be a window, it's going to be a very small window, and we're just going to have to go for it and do the best we can.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Tracy,
Richard has arranged for a number of berths. I
Tracy's
think.
got a hand up, Mick, sorry.
Where?
Tracy.
Sorry, Mick, it's me again. Apologies for that. Just
It
to,
is, isn't it?
we're all. I'm sorry. I get the prize. It's for the crew to help them. Is there a? I mean, we're all sailors, right? A lot of them, all of us. Is there a kind of a cutoff for the wind speed? I know it depends on conditions with precipitation as well. But what's the rough cutoff you'd be looking at the moment for the wind speed to say go, no go?
Well, I mean, I would be very uncomfortable with going anything more than a force 3. At the moment, I was looking at Windy earlier on today, and they're forecasting easily 20 knots of wind out there. Well, that's too much. So anything above a force 3, then the race is very likely to be called off. It also depends on the direction of the wind as well. If the wind is with us, then we can perhaps tolerate a little bit more wind than if it's against us. The tides, as you know, in the bay run generally north to south, depending on the state of the tide, whether it's ebbing or making. There's very little cross flow, so you'll either be having some tidal assistance or it'll be against you. If it's against you and the wind is against you, you're going to really struggle over that period. You have to take all those things into account when we make the decision.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks, Mick.
Is that right? My team, are we are pretty well wedded to a force 3, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Depending on the wind, like you say. The forecast has changed again in the last couple of hours to more northerlies, and Saturday looking more favourable. Yeah, we have a hand up. We have a hand up. Marcus has his hand up.
Thanks. You may be getting on this, Mick, but I was wondering about. I'd like to take up a trailer to get the rib back and leave it up before the race. Just works logistically. I don't know. I can't remember fully. Is there room, do you think, somewhere to store a trailer for a couple of days, or is there someone I could contact about that?
Richard?
Yeah, I mean, there's a big car park there at Plas It's not a secure car park. I mean, you know, I would suggest that you want to put a hitch lock or something on it. But I can't see an issue with that. I can certainly okay that with the people at Plas.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah.
Okay, so there are berths available for the support boats that have suggested they would like a berth. Richard's done an amazing job of getting a couple of pontoons cleared within the marina. So that's brilliant news. So it's just for one night, is that right, Richard?
Yeah, indeed. That's all we're providing is for one night, and you know that you will have to raft up. It's an area that is for us, but you know we'll have to sort of fit in as best we can. Yeah, and I'm also working on a few extra ones slightly further out. So yeah.
So that's really good news. There should be food available at the end of the race, some hot food and drinks, and then possibly a barbecue later on. Is that right, Louise?
It is right. There's 13. We've allocated 13 post-race meals per crew. There are more available, but they will need to be purchased.
Okay. And then hopefully the presentations will take place during that food. Is that correct?
As soon as we can after the last boat has been recovered. We know that some people are going to want to get straight off home.
Okay.
And first boats in don't have to wait for the last boats to get your food. Food will be ready for the first boats and be ready throughout.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you guys, but John Bisson is waving his hand frantically, trying to get attention.
Where is he?
You're on
Okay,
mute,
speak up.
John. On mute.
Thanks, Jane. Where are you, John?
John, if you press the space bar, hold it down, and keep it held down. Now you're unmuted. Hold the space bar down. Keep your finger on it.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm very familiar with the Pwllheli Harbour and the Pwllheli Marina, and I'm pleasantly surprised that you've got berths there at the finish for the support boats. However, I was also surprised that you said that there would be rafting up facilities. Unless you've got a hammerhead berth, you can't raft up in Pwllheli berths. And when you're talking about further out berths, there's only trots moorings, and there's some limitations on those. So I'm a bit curious about that possibility. I'm also a little bit curious when you said that the finish was off Pwllheli Beach. There's 2 beaches at Pwllheli. I don't know which one you mean. I presume that you may mean the beach that is next to the sailing school, which gives you access to car parks and so on. But at the low tide, I must point out, the tide goes over mud for about half a kilometre. So there may be some issues there. Can you first of all confirm what the berthing arrangements are at Pwllheli? Because I know normally in Pwllheli during the summer, they do not have any visitors' berths whatsoever.
I saw your email questions, John. Richard has been liaising directly with Pwllheli. Perhaps you could answer these questions, Richard.
Yeah, I had a meeting this morning with Stephen Tudor, who runs Pwllheli, and we walked the pontoon, and he showed me the area that has been set aside for us. They have moved some boats around to accommodate us, and also a lot of their boats will be doing a round island race that weekend, so they're able to free up an area for us. So I mean, Stephen, and the Mark the Commodore was there as well. They know sailing boats a lot better than I do. As far as they're concerned, there was no issue rafting up where they were suggesting. With regards to the beach, yes, it's the beach on the right-hand side as you come into the harbour, as you come into the sort of the trots. So it's directly ahead of you. So the support boats will peel off into the marina, and the Celtics will come straight onto the beach. I've also secured a telehandler so that we can help to recover the ribs in particular with the telehandler to pull them up the breach, so that we're not trying to get 4x4s on there, because it's quite a sandy beach. It's not the best for traction, and I may well take my own quad down there to help with recovery for the Celtics. So we're hopefully everything is in hand to make things as easy as possible. I hope that answers your questions.
What you must realise is that the finish, there aren't going to be a bunch of boats racing for the line. The finish is likely to be strung out over a number of hours, so it's almost impossible to pick the best time to have this finish on that beach, because the boats will be arriving. Well, there'll be quite a time slot between the boats arriving and finishing. We can't really say, well, we're going to get there at high tide or we're going to get there at low tide. Boats are going to be arriving all over the place. Al, is that asking something?
No.
No, I just. Okay, does that answer your questions, John? Yes, good. Okay. We do have safety cover in terms of paramedics. There will be 2 paramedics associated with the race. One of them will be on Lady B, which is the fast launch piloted or captained by Mickey Harris, who's very, very experienced. He's done many, many Celtic challenges. I think that will be Bryn Harrison will be on that one. And the second paramedic will be with me on the end control boat that will be following up the fleet. And that's on Backchat, the yacht. And we have a small rib available to us to deliver the paramedic should anybody require it. So if you do need assistance during the race, you will have to get in touch with race control, and they will then dispatch a paramedic to deal with your problem.
We do have Ian
During
in,
the race,
just to let you know,
sorry.
Ian, who is going to be with you, paramedic, he is with us at this moment.
Yes, if you have any questions about the health paramedic cover, please ask Ian now.
You're in the clear. You're in the clear.
You're in the clear. So during the race, you get in touch with the race control. You'll do that on channel 16, and then you will be switched to another channel for the conversation. Are we all happy with that?
Can I just add that we need your medical forms for all of your crew, not just your rowers?
Ian, we're pretty much 99.9% there with all the crews now. Pippa's got a hand up.
Yeah, just a little bit concerned about the channel 16 comms, given what that's usually reserved for.
Right. Channel 16 is usually reserved for certainly hailing between craft. As soon as you've made the contact, then you turn to a separate channel, which we will give you in the briefing. It's quite acceptable to use channel 16 to hail another craft. I don't think that's a problem. What would your concerns be?
I think the concern really is that normally, obviously, that is reserved for the emergency. You're right, it is absolutely acceptable to hail craft, but we're planning to use the emergency channel for hailing people that we, know are there, kind of thing. I would say it's normally reserved. You hail somebody on that channel when you come across somebody or you need to check, speak to them. You don't use it as a planned means of communication, would be my general understanding. The Coast Guard now have a working channel. Even if you just want a radio check, they try to keep 16 as clear as possible. So planning to use it doesn't seem on a organized professional event doesn't perhaps in my mind seem like the right view, but that's just my personal opinion. And if you're going to have a working channel, why not just give it us at the race briefing and then we can hail you on that?
Well, part of that is that when you use channel 16, it's on a much higher power, and so your initial contact will be on a higher power, which will how can I put it? It will ensure that you make the contact. If you are on one of the other channels, they tend to be on a lower power transmission, and so may not actually make the call. I will, if you like, get in touch with the Coast Guard and make sure it's okay with them. If it's okay with them, we'll carry on with channel 16. If it isn't okay with them and there's a change, I will tell you at the briefing at the beginning of the race. Is that acceptable?
Wonderful, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Are there any other questions, any burning questions that you want to ask? Yeah, go on, Tracy.
Thanks, Mick. Just a quick one. I'm guessing there's this is a fine line between team tactics versus safety. So I'm assuming, I just want to check this and check I've got this right and everybody else is happy with it, that if there's something where we've got an issue in the boat where somebody's just ill or they just can't row anymore, obviously that's between us and our support boat. It's a Cox's call with our support boat to go, actually, this is a CASEVAC job and we need to get Channel 16 and safety boat involved. So I just want to check that's the protocol. It's the Cox's call basically, is whether I go to my support boat or whether I go on to the race support to say we need help now. Just want to check the protocols.
Okay. What I would suggest is that you always get in touch with your support boat, first of all, and it would be support boat that then would get in touch with race control. That would then stop too much traffic, radio traffic taking place. So if there is a problem in your team, whether what your team does about that problem, whether they want to give up or whether they need assistance, is a decision that will be made between your team captain and your support boat skipper.
That is absolutely perfect.
Sorry?
That's perfect. That's why I asked the question, just for the avoidance of doubt. That's exactly it. So perfect. I just wanted to double check. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, if I can just answer that from a medical point of view, Tracy.
Was there a cyclop there? Yeah, cyclop. What are you going about?
We would, Marcus, you're off mute, mate.
I've done him. I've sorted him, Ian. I've shut him up.
Right, Tracy. If I can answer it from our point of view, if it's day-to-day first aid stuff, like you've got blisters or hemorrhoids, we ain't coming to sort it out. If your legs dropping off, or you've got serious cuts or anything that you would normally either call an ambulance for or take somebody to A&E for, that's where we come in.
It was more the protocol, Ian, of which way to go around, but got it. If somebody's, God forbid, having a TIA or something, it's like, do I go with my support boat or go, we've got a TIA on board, you know what I mean? But yeah, got the protocol. Thank you.
Okay. What we will do is we will try and allocate individual VHF channels to each team, but quite honestly, there won't be enough VHF channels available to give every team a separate channel. So it may be that, say, if there are 2 teams from one club, we will give you one channel so that you'll have to talk amongst yourselves and ignore a little bit of what's going on. Has anybody taking the small walkie-talkie radios instead of VHFs or alongside VHFs? Well, they're great if you can, because that would enable you to talk to your support boat and chat, not on a VHF channel. And they are generally useful and effective up to about a 2-kilometer distance. So as well as your VHF, it's a very good idea to have a little walkie-talkie.
Dom's got his hand up.
Apologies, I joined late because of my connectivity. You may have covered this. It's a question about having flares, the Technic flares on ribs and the Celtic. We carry the electronic distress flares because I think it's potentially quite dangerous on a Celtic and maybe a rib when nobody's ever used them before. Obviously, the mothership will have flares. Is there an absolute ruling that we have to have pyrotechnic flares on ribs and especially the Celtic?
Well, we did cover this, Dom, and it's also covered in the safety regulation. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. I don't mind saying it again. Electronic flares are perfectly acceptable in the rib and the longbow, but we do require that the support boat has a much wider range of flares available, and that's all covered in the safety briefing list. So if anybody has a problem getting hold of the flares, let us know and we'll see what we can do. Right, are there any other outstanding questions that you might want to ask? Are you all happy with rowing at night? Have you all been out there rowing away? Are you all happy with the sorts of clothes that you ought to wear? It's a good idea to wear layers of clothes. It's going to be cold out there during the night. So I suggest things like merinos are really, really good because they retain the heat, flexible clothing, and make sure that you have, if you are going to suffer from seasickness, make sure that you've taken in good time some seasickness remedies. The sorts of remedies are available. You've got off-the-shelf stuff, travel sickness pills, or you can get these special patches that you can get from your doctor if you haven't been able to sort that out. And then the very last thing is that you really need to take great care of your arses, because on these long roads, you can suffer all sorts of blisters and burns. And so take some Vaseline along with you and Vaseline every moving bit of your body. And if you don't want to do that, I'm sure a member of your crew will do it for you. Any more comments? Is there anything that you're worried about that we can help? Okay, in that case, I would say if there is anything and you want to, please feel free to email me or ring me up, and we'll do our best to answer any of your queries that develop between now and the race. We will keep you informed about the weather. We will be talking every day, perhaps many times a day, about the weather, and we will keep you informed and tell you of our decisions later in the week. I just have to say that the three guys who have started this whole race, which is Louise, Scott, and Richard, have done a fantastic amount of work, a really huge amount of work to get this off the ground. So I hope you all appreciate how much work they've done. And all I can say from me now is that I hope you have a really good race. I hope the race is on and that you have a really good race. And I just hand the comms back over to Louise in case there's anything else you want to say.
There's nothing off the top of my head, but please keep the emails coming in. If you've got any questions, we'll answer them as best we can. Please do read through any information that you get coming your way as well. And please do send us the information back promptly, please.
Jane's got her hand up.
I have. Thank you, Scott, and thank you to Louise and Richard, and also to everybody who's had input to get this race hopefully off the start line. But that's all down to weather now. Just some very, very minor little things that I want to query. So we will have to go off site to get food to sustain ourselves before we embark on this event. So is there any means of communicating with people who have gone off site? I mean, we'll have to go up into Fishguard and whatever to look for cafes and all the rest of it. So we won't know what's happening if there's change of times or change of briefings, or is there any way we can communicate with people?
Jane, there's a brief at 2 o'clock, which we've already said. We've asked people to get there for 12 so we can account for engines and equipment. At the 2 o'clock brief, we'll tell you when the next brief will be. We'll give people warning. We won't just announce some information and not have.
Right. So we can go off site from the time we've offloaded our boat until 2 o'clock.
Once the boat's been scrutinised, a scrutinised form and everything is back, yes.
So that's my second question. Can the scrutinised form be emailed to people?
It will be.
Brilliant. Excellent. And then one other tiny minor question thing in your information today said tea and coffees for sale on site, etc. What's the etc.?
Maybe hot chocolate, maybe a little bit of squash if you behave yourself.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
There was also one other point that somebody pointed out, which I think is a really good safety point, is that all the ribs, of course, will have kill cords on their boats. And it's a very good idea for an extra kill cord to be somewhere positioned on that boat as well. So say there was an accident and the driver went overboard and the kill cord then comes into action and kills the engine, at least you've got a kill cord, an extra kill cord for somebody to start the engine and pick them up. So it's a very good idea to have a spare kill cord on board of the ribs. Okay.
Tracy, you got your hand up?
Real quick one, Mick, last one for me, I promise you. Just big thank you from us at Clevedon. Fantastic organisation and great slides. One favour, Louise, if I could get the PPT off slideshow, for some reason I can't print it on slideshow. I don't know if others got the same problem. So if I can get just the raw PPT version, PowerPoint version, that'd be great. Thank you. Thanks, Mick.
I'll see what I can do for you, Tracy.
I have, Tracy, but I'm sure Mick will be able to sort that out for us.
Yeah, I'll have a look, Tracy, and see what I can do.
Okay. Okay, then. Well, thank you all very much. Anything else? We'll just go around. Richard, anything?
Can I just to cover the bit that somebody forgot to record, we've already covered the flares. Thank you, Dom, for asking that again. The 2 meter pole for the light is a recommendation, not a must. The start will be a drop flag and a hooter, and I think that's all I missed.
So the only other thing that's worth pointing out, which has not quite been covered, is that we've covered everything that happens in the water and everything that happens with the boats, as you would expect. Myself and Richard will be shoreside, so if you can't get in touch with your boat, or if something happens, or you want any further information, myself and Richard will be contactable on shore to help. As soon as the boats are off in Fishguard, myself and Richard will be heading to Pwllheli to head up the HQ at Pwllheli. And I'm sure I'm pronouncing this wrong, and Richard's going to kick me later. But when we get to Pwllheli, we will be the point of contact for anything that happens up there. So if your guys arrive early and they want any updates or they want to find out anything, come and find us. Mick and Louise will be at sea performing their duties at sea to keep the race running smoothly and safely as they can. Myself and Richard will be doing a similar role, but shoreside. So if you haven't got our numbers and you can't find them, or message this group, and we'll make sure you've got our numbers, so your shore crews that are supporting you can get in touch with us should they need any further information.
Yeah, I was just going to add that I'm quite happy for my mobile to be publicised, and I will be in contact up there. I have organised with Pwllheli that there will be inside undercover room for people to arrive during the night. So any support people who arrive, they can come into Pwllheli. There will be a tea and coffee station there that they can help themselves. So hopefully we'll make it as comfortable as possible for everyone.
Yeah.
So I was just going to say, I won't be down to watch the start. So I just wanted to wish everyone a good start, and I will be watching the progress.
I will get those contact numbers out to everybody in the next few days. So and just seeing as you're mentioning the tracking, Richard, YB trackers should be arriving with Mick on Tuesday. They should all be loaded up. The information was sent to them yesterday. The trackers, Mick has mentioned in the safety briefing that they are expensive. You are responsible whilst you have them. If you lose them or break them, you will get a bill. So please look after them. The link will be sent out as soon as we've got it, so you can share that at will.
Yeah, it might just be worth going over the procedure if you retire from the race. So if your team decides that they want to retire from the race, you must inform the race control, and then the most sensible thing would be then to proceed. If it's close to the start, I would suggest you turn around and retrace your steps back to Fishguard. If you're closer to Pwllheli, then I would suggest that you carry on your support boat to Pwllheli. If you turn back, unfortunately, you won't be within the control of the race safety apron. You'll be on your own. If you go on to Pwllheli, then we'll do our best to extend the safety cover to you all the way to Pwllheli. There really aren't many opt-out points on this race. Nearly everywhere on this coast is extremely tidal. The only other place that you might be able to get to is Newquay, but I would suggest that the best thing to do, if you have to give up the rowing, is to get on board the support boat and make your way to Pwllheli. Any questions?
Tracy's got a hand up. You said that was the last one. No, I
promise you this is the last one, Louise. Not connected with that though, so I'll hold fire in case somebody's got a question on that bit before I ask mine.
I just want to jump in there as well and just say we want everybody to finish this race, and we will do our best to get you over that finish line. However, if we think that somebody is really struggling and the tides are against you and the conditions are against you, we may have to recommend that you do retire, and we will ask you to take that on board. We wouldn't be doing it lightly.
I just from experience of Celtics, if you are bringing your longboat under tow, make sure your skippers aren't overexcited and sink the longboat. It has happened.
Mick, Alana's got a hand up.
Tracy's got her hand up as well still.
She was holding fire, I think, for
Okay.
Okay, fire ahead.
My question, it's more for the recording again, was about the two boys. That sounded like an important thing to say again, maybe.
Well done. Thank you.
You mean the gate boys at the end of Sam Badrig?
You mentioned going the opposite side of a buoy or going between two
Right,
buoys.
okay. The gate that you all have to pass through is the end of Sam Badrig, St Patrick's Causeway. That's a causeway that goes out 11 miles from, basically from Harlech. And that causeway actually breaks the water at low water. So we want to stay away from that. We don't want to drift into the area where the Devil's Tail might cause you problems for rowing. So the best way of doing that is to pass really close to the causeway buoy, and the Latin long is given in the presentation. The causeway buoy is a west cardinal, which normally would mean that you would pass to the west of that. But I'm asking you to pass to the east of it, pass close to it, but pass to the east of it. It's safe water for about a mile. Hopefully, there should be a buoy there as well, so you will be able to see a gate that you have to go through. But so you have to go through that gate, and then when you're through that gate, you can then change your course directly to Pwllheli.
Can I jump in there as well, Nick, and say that we do expect the Celtics and the support boats to be close together. That they should be within sight of each other. So the Celtics should be just following the support boats. The support boats should be doing the navigating, really.
Absolutely, and you should really stay within about 100 meters of your rowing boat if you possibly can, the support boat, just in case there are any problems. You can quickly. Right, Tracy.
Promise you this is the final one, Mick. It's actually linked to what to Alana's question about it is about the boys. I mean, in the unlikely event that two Celtics are near for the coming to the east of the Cardinal gate. I don't know how wide that gate will be between the West Cardinal and the other buoy, but at the second buoy turn, the one as you're going to Pwllheli, if in the event that two Celtics are near, I'm guessing the standard 3 boat lengths who has water will hold. I mean, I know it's unlikely, but just to be clear, the 3 boat length rule will apply.
Yeah, those rules will apply, but quite honestly, you shouldn't be anywhere near each other, actually. You should always give the teams a fair berthing, because there's plenty of room out there. Yeah, there's no benefit from taking those turns as close as possible. So be sensible out there and give everybody lots of free water.
Thank you, will do. Thanks, Mick. Thanks, Louise.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I think I'll hand over to Louise to terminate this session, and thank you very much. Hope we've answered all your questions. If not, just get in touch and we'll do what we can.
Yeah, thank you, Mick. Poor old Mick got dragged into this and we've never let him look back. So thank you everybody for coming tonight. We hope it was useful. If there is anything, please do shout. We've got potentially a week to answer any more queries, so please just ask us. And we hopefully will see you all at Fishguard next Friday or Saturday. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.